We hear a lot these days about mistrust of the media, mistrust of the government, mistrust of all sorts of authorities and institutions. The vast majority of people do not have the time to sit down and watch the entire length of congressional hearings and court cases and all those sorts of things. So instead, we typically rely on news articles or news clips to convey that information to us in a much more efficient manner. But that means that we have to trust sometimes that what's being portrayed is accurate, and sometimes it's not. So I have a quick ask of you. I'm going to show you a clip from Dana Bash, who works for CNN, where she is talking about a Senate hearing that took place yesterday. The original clip is just under 2 minutes long. I sped it up so that it would be a little bit shorter, but I don't need to know any context. I'm going to have one question for you after you watch her clip.
Why would you repeat those damn lies?
It's not that often that there's a surprise, like a big surprise in a hearing on Capitol Hill, especially a confirmation hearing. But that's what happened today. Senator Bill Cassidy, a doctor, was trying to get to yes on the president's nominee for the CDC head. Also, an assistant secretary to be in charge of crises, Sean Kaufman. And at every turn, she could not give an answer that would make him get to yes. So examples on vaccine hesitancy. She couldn't give a direct answer.
It's not quite the direct answer I'm hoping for.
The website, the current CDC website, the language changed. It currently says that vaccines don't cause autism is not an evidence-based claim. She said she didn't even know that was on the website.
I will look at that exact website. I have not seen that.
Another question about whether or not she agrees with the decision to cancel the mRNA research funding. These are the kinds of vaccines, for example, the COVID vaccine. She said she didn't even know about it.
This is the first time I'm actually hearing about this. As a private citizen, I certainly was not following that.
This is somebody who was supposed to be preparing for the job of the CDC head. What this meant was a visibly frustrated, even angry Bill Cassidy, because Erica Schwartz, the nominee, she was supposed to be the, forgive me, but the normal nominee. And this is a word and a term coming from sources in the administration. Bill Cassidy's response and his agitation was something.
Why would you repeat those damn lies? Because that destroys trust. And we don't start getting back to where we trust unless people speak the truth.
Okay, here's the question. Without looking this up, without looking up any news articles or any other footage, just based on that clip, at the very end, Senator Cassidy is visibly upset and he is yelling at somebody. Why would you repeat those damned lies? Who is he yelling at? Don't overthink it. Who's he yelling at? If your answer is Erica Schwartz, the woman who is the nominee for CDC director, that is incorrect. If you didn't think it was Erica Schwartz and you thought it was something else, then I guess the rest of this video isn't about you and you can move on. Thank you for your participation. But when I watched this video, that was the impression that I got. And I asked several other people that I know personally to watch it, asked them the same question, and they thought that that was directed at Erica Schwartz. But actually, if you watch the entire hearing, this happens about 2 hours and 20 minutes or so into the hearing, and this is actually when Senator Cassidy is talking to Sean Kaufman. Sean Kaufman was the other nominee in this hearing. He is the nominee for Assistant Secretary of ASPR. See, back in May of 2025, Sean Kaufman wrote a post on LinkedIn where he basically questioned whether we should still be giving a newborn dose of the hepatitis B vaccine. And he went on to kind of imply that perhaps that is linked in some way to increasing diagnoses of autism. Now remember, Senator Cassidy is a hepatologist. He has spoken out many times about the importance of the hepatitis B vaccine. That is the context of that specific part of the video.
Platform.
But how do you do that without doing the research? I mean, that's the whole point of research, to determine how to do that more safely.
The COVID-19 mRNA vaccine was the only mRNA platform in human health ever used. It was the first time it was ever used. I think we should be asking
there
questions.
were circumstances surrounding that. Let me go on. You had mentioned in some place a deleted LinkedIn post about an association in your mind between the birth hepatitis B dose and the increased onset of various things, and then saying that in the countries that had the birth dose, they had the highest rates of hepatitis B. Of course, that was misleading. The reason they started the birth dose is because they had a high rate of hepatitis B being passed from mother to baby. And if you look at the age at which they begin to have hepatitis B immunization at birth, there was no hepatitis B after that. It was the kids who weren't, it was the people who were not vaccinated that had the burden of disease. So your LinkedIn post was either uninformed or deliberately misleading. But when Murkowski speaks about Alaska, they had endemic hepatitis B in the Alaskan Native population, and it's only with the birth dose that went away. Now, again, if we're talking about restoring trust and either misinformation or, I don't know what you're thinking, why would you repeat those damn lies? Because that destroys trust. And we don't start getting back to where we trust unless people speak the truth.
Don't mistake me. This is not a defense of Kaufman. It's not a defense of Schwartz. It's not a defense of Cassidy. I have issues with all three of those people. So I can't claim to know what happened. I just think it's important for people to try their best to frame things accurately and not leave room for misinterpretation or being misleading. So I guess ultimately this is just a reminder that when you can, check, double check, triple check, even if it's coming from a source that you typically find to be reliable and already trust. Again, like I said at the beginning, we're living in an environment where this trust has been broken for so many people, and we got to work hard at restoring that. And everybody's allowed to make mistakes, but we got to do better. All right, this was Holly. See you later. Bye.